Good afternoon. This is Eric Christensen of the National Hurricane Center's Tropical Analysis and Forecast Branch with the weekly marine weather briefing recorded Sunday, February 4th and valid through Friday, February 9th. A pair of deep low pressure systems are moving across the Gulf of Mexico today and tonight into Monday. Expect gale warnings and building seas across the region. Seas will reach as high as 20 feet near the Yucatan Channel by Monday night and near 22 feet northeast of the northern Bahamas by Tuesday night. Currently, there are gale force winds and rough seas over mainly the north central and eastern Gulf of Mexico as the first low pressure system moves through the region. Rough seas and strong winds persist near a dissipating frontal boundary and a trough over the Atlantic. For Monday, marine conditions deteriorate further in the Gulf of Mexico as the second low pressure system moves into the northeast Gulf. Expect winds to gale force and rough to very rough seas over much of the Gulf following the passage of a cold front associated with the low pressure. Gales and rough seas will reach into the Yucatan Channel and far northwest Caribbean Sea Monday and Monday night. Rough seas and strong winds will persist southeast of Bermuda and north of 28 North across the central Atlantic. For Tuesday, marine conditions will continue to worsen over the western Atlantic as the low pressure system moves off the east coast of Florida. Expect gales and very rough seas north of the Bahamas and east of northeast Florida starting overnight Monday into Tuesday. The cold front will reach from Hispaniola to Panama in the Caribbean. Strong to gale force winds and rough to very rough seas will persist over the northwest Caribbean following the front. Winds will diminish across the Gulf of Mexico, but rough to very rough seas may persist across mostly the south central and southeast Gulf. Heading into the middle part of the week, gales and very rough seas persist across the western Atlantic as the low pressure starts to lift to the northeast toward Bermuda. Winds and seas start to diminish across the western Caribbean Sea. Expect gentle to moderate winds in the Gulf of Mexico as high pressure builds north of the basin. Looking ahead to Thursday, rough to very rough seas will persist across the western Atlantic as the low pressure becomes stationary to the northeast of Bermuda. Winds and seas will continue to diminish across the Caribbean, although large northerly swells may impact Atlantic passages in the northeast Caribbean. Expect fresh to strong southeast return flow across the western Gulf of Mexico as the high pressure shifts east ahead of a low pressure system moving into the central plains. Little change is expected over the western Atlantic going into Friday with rough to very rough seas and strong to near gale force winds likely persisting south of the low pressure parked to the north of Bermuda. Expect moderate to fresh northeast winds across the Caribbean. Large northerly swell may persist in Atlantic passages over the northeast Caribbean. Mostly gentle to moderate southerly winds and moderate seas will persist across the Gulf, with the possibility of some sea fog over the northwest Gulf. In summary, poor marine weather conditions will persist across the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean into at least midweek. Expect rough to very rough seas over the western Atlantic Monday through Friday. Mariners should stay aware of the latest forecasts, and small craft should consider staying in port. This has been Eric Christensen of the National Hurricane Center with the latest Tropical Atlantic marine weather briefing. The next briefing will be Thursday, February 8th by 5 p.m. You can always get the latest graphics and information on marine weather at hurricanes.gov/marine.